Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Charter Review Commission's Workplan Subcommittee meeting. Today is March 19th. We have, there's 4 of us present today. We do have our Chair Erickson and Vice Chair Haas are out, and we're kind of expecting Commissioner LeBrand, but he has not appeared yet. So we can go ahead and get started. So I did provide you all with the notes that yesterday people were giving us their good ideas, and so I did put them down. Excuse me if there's typos or anything. I just kind of did it very quickly. But I wanted to we could start with this and kind of see what we think are good ideas, and we can talk about the timelines of when we want to do what kind of public outreach. So.
Kathy, could I suggest that we use as a sort of a goal for tonight, since we're going to be presenting some of this next weekend, a draft that would include the two headings I have under objective and scope, being one to kind of tell people what our scope is, because it could get way huge or it could be inadequate. And then the next being timeline and action. So I don't say that this text is what we should be using, but I think when we present next week, that it would be good to have these 2 topics.
Okay.
Perhaps others, but at least to be able to show them where we are on those 2 items.
Yeah.
And who's going to take minutes, or who's going to be doing this?
I mean, we record it, so we will be able to have all those minutes, and I can turn around and provide them, and I do take some minutes now.
Good.
And so your objective is intended. So along with objective and scope and timeline and actions, don't we need to have some kind of actual, like, this looks like, the public outreach, whether it's planning town halls or.
Yes.
Is that included in your scope?
Yeah, that would be included in, to inform the public, and the commission will send an informational media release to an inclusive list of media outlets, including a link to the commission deliberation. So that would be a link to the website, and a list, and I'm not sure that this is correct, a list of specific commissioners to contact for further information on each amendment. Is that something that we contemplate? Would that be the sponsor? Would
The sponsor?
Whoever is the sponsor, would they want to be identified as a person to contact? I think they would.
I would think so, yeah. I think.
Yeah. The commission will maintain an accurate and transparent information source on the ballot amendments and their passage or failure through the election deadline and election certification. So then the timeline and actions, I had it starting.
You have that last paragraph. So are you wanting a link to the election results, is what you're saying on that?
No, I think that maybe it would be just a link to the election results, or we could do a little report that we would post on our website.
With a link directly to them, then there's no risk of it being a mistake or anything like that. So
link to results.
Okay.
Can I?
Oh.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, how's it going? Can I chime in with a dumb question for us to think about before we get too far?
Sure.
Just so we say it out loud, like, I'd love if we could talk a little bit about what the intended purpose is of the public outreach, because I think we have a lot of overlap, but maybe some differences that are good to call out too.
Sure, I think that's a great idea. Do you want to go ahead and start with that?
Sure. I think for me, one of the big ones is in building trust with the community. so that they feel like they're actively part of the conversation rather than just being presented with, a finished product or a mostly finished product. I think it also, one thing that we can probably do as a result of outreach is to help build public buy-in for the measures that get put forward, so that they stand a greater chance of passing. Looking at the past, past amendments or amendment proposals, a lot of times if folks don't understand, if voters don't understand it, they'll just vote no, just kind of on principle. And so being able to have answers, answer questions, conversations can help build buy-in for good changes. And I think those are kind of the main things that I'm thinking about, but I'd love to hear where everyone else is at on that.
Well, I certainly agree with you about the public buy-in. Well, both of them, but the public buy-in, that makes sense because we've seen it time and time again. If people don't have enough information, they're not comfortable voting on something. So we definitely want to do this early enough to where they believe that their input is valuable to us.
Well, and I believe that we should really focus on accurate information, transparent information as a way to get buy-in rather than to advocate for the specific amendments. So that would be on our website. First of all, media release to the major outlets saying that such and such amendments are qualified for the ballot, and telling them there where they can go to our website to get all the information. The information would have the amendments, the pro and con statements, and contact information for the sponsor, for the head of the pro committee and the head of the no committee.
So all that is on the elections
Yes,
website. So
right.
and it would be best that
Right.
we don't duplicate
No,
anything.
we don't
but,
want to duplicate.
but we definitely could link to that.
Right.
So
I guess to piggyback on what Eric was saying, is our goal to engage people in the process now, or is it to educate them later?
I think it's to educate them later. Right now, we have our hands full with doing our process.
And see, I'm hearing that from some people, and I'm hearing we need
Yeah.
more people engaged now from other people.
I think it's both, right? Like both have to happen.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I understand, yeah, we're really busy, right? And there's a lot to get done, but it's part of what we signed up
Yeah.
for, right? Like it's, and it's one of the things I feel like the last time we started outreach too late.
Oh, when did you start?
We had a survey that kind of came before we did the final ballot resolution, but most of our outreach came after. And it was more just education.
Right.
So I think
When you
that
say after, you mean after?
after our ballot resolutions were completed.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
so then
kind of-
it was a lot more, like most of our outreach came after that.
Right.
And so I think that we will get this building the trust, getting the buy-in and stuff can make it a lot easier for us and to get things passed.
So maybe we're looking at phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, before
Yeah.
the amendments are finalized, what would that look like? Phase 2, what would that look
Yeah.
like?
I think it's to encourage more of getting more input before we put things on the ballot.
Yeah.
Do we have a concrete list of organizations that we could actually contact and say, hey, you're this organization, can you, whether it's Democrat Party, Republican Party, other organizations, neighborhood associations, do we have kind of a contact list that we can just broadcast stuff to?
I think the county has the neighborhood association.
And,
Right.
And
And
they
then,
have some kind of
Yeah.
like a distribution list
Mhm.
yeah,
that they can provide it. But yeah, they have all the neighborhood organizations and
Okay.
the parties are kind of easy.
is that the
to-
next door I think it's called Next Door app
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
can contact
I'm
people.
not familiar with that, but I was just thinking, if we have an email list of organizations, they can distribute it to their people, but what action could we call people to? And what would be the trigger? And I
Yeah,
was thinking, what if we use the amendments that passed the second reading, they get approved? We could announce those in an email as a trigger and say, hey, this is being passed, forwarded by the commission for further study. Give us your feedback or contact the sponsor as an action item to ask them to get engaged. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And is it too much to expect that they would read a media release to the newspapers? I know nobody.
I think, yeah, it's one of those things, like you have to have a broad approach, right?
Yeah,
Some
I-
people
I
will
get it. I
read,
get it.
will read the paper.
Yeah.
Some people will click on the links,
Yeah.
you know, when social media
Facebook.
feed of a
And we could-
paper.
some of these, some
Yeah.
reporter might think one of these are more to trigger a news article
Yeah.
about it.
Mhm.
Oh, I think
So
it's gonna,
we could definitely put
trigger
them on the
numerous
email list.
articles.
But I'm
And
just
I
thinking
think-
if we had, whatever one's past the second reading, because that
Yeah.
means it's moving again through the process, you could say, this specifically is being forwarded. We could include the presentation information because that's documented on the website. We could provide a link to the video for people to actually watch the presentation and the discussion. And then ask them to respond with comments or feedback to the council or the sponsor and co-sponsors. That's a concrete way to ask them to be engaged is correct thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't have is the list of who to send it to. Does that make sense?
Right, but that really makes sense as soon as we've gotten past the second reading,
Mhm.
because those are the ones that we're going to be working with. And
Yes.
we'll know if there's more than, let's say 10, we know that we're going to determine which our top ones are by how many votes they receive in the second reading. So we can just kind of concentrate on those 10. But as soon, I really like that idea about doing a news release and because it's going to generate news for sure, because some could be more newsworthy than others. And we want to, that would be a kind of a good date to start, I
But
think.
I imagine both parties have email newsletters they send out.
Yeah.
They have other sub organizations on both sides that would do the same. So if we are emailing them, every day and saying, hey, this one passed this week, and we send an email per one that passed, they can just forward that same email with those links specific to that action item.
could have
Does
a
that make sense?
tremendous increase in public comment at our meetings.
It will do what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
A tremendous increase in public comments at our meetings,
Yeah, it
which-
probably will.
which could be wonderful, or it could be,
It could
Slow us
take a
down.
lot, yeah, it could take a lot of time,
Slow us
but
down. But that's okay.
we want
think-
that.
But a
We
lot
want
of them
that.
realize that email comments are
Yeah.
probably more time effective
Right.
for a lot. If
Yeah.
they're motivated to come speak in person, then
Right.
more power to them. We get to listen to them, but
Yeah.
I'm just
No, it's probably.
trying to think of a concrete action item.
Yeah,
I think that definitely ensuring that we are notifying groups along the way
Mhm.
certainly makes it easier than at the end. Here's a chunk of information.
Yeah, and in our time flow, we were talking about like a 30
Yeah.
days after the second reading would be the committee report. So if they get feedback within
Yeah.
that time frame, they have time to incorporate that public feedback.
yeah. What do you think, Eric?
So I'm thinking back to what Ann said about phase 1 and phase 2, and so there might be some differences there. I'm also wondering how we can engage with like non-political folks. And I think kind of what Commissioner Haas was saying last night, we're going to have to really probably do some prioritization for the 2026 ballot. But it'd be really nice if we could figure out how to get in front of some regular folks I'm just thinking about like my experience on the political side versus on the neighborhood side. One thing they have in common is that no matter how much I talk about it, if I wait for people to come to me and say what they think, the message is never going to get out, and there's not going to be any two-way communication. So, if we can figure out ways to incorporate getting in front of, whether it's like maybe like festivals during the summer, or East Beach Corner at Esther Short Park, or things like that.
At the farmer's market.
A table at the farmer.
We're gonna have work at that all day long.
Maybe it'll take turns.
But
Yeah,
like you said, that's kind of more phase two,
Yeah.
phase two.
educating them
The
about what's going to be
education
on the
part.
ballot.
Yeah,
in the
but to
fall.
get the input, I think,
So phase one is those that have gotten through the second reading.
yeah.
Right.
And we distribute information about that through not only the newspapers, but other neighborhood associations and whatever lists we can get. So that happens during phase one. And then phase two is after we have all of our amendments,
Mhm.
and that's information, but not duplicating what's on the voters pamphlet. When is the voters pamphlet come out?
Usually comes out about a week before the ballots due.
See, that's too late. See,
For our
no,
information.
right,
It works
exactly.
well.
No,
well,
for
But the online version is on there much earlier. So if
Right.
we wanted to connect to that, it's out there
right,
as soon as their deadline has come and
Right.
gone to do any kind of voters pamphlet statement.
Yeah.
So it's much earlier.
but maybe phase
August
two would have
18th
to
is
include,
the final, August 18th.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, that's like.
So for
I
phase
believe
phase
August
two,
18th is the-
we'll, by the time we're doing phase two,
Rebuttal
we'll have a list
deadline.
of what we have
Yeah,
submitted to the
right.
auditor.
Yeah.
right,
And we can broadcast that same information to
Yeah.
all the same groups,
we
neighborhood
have a
groups and
website.
political groups. And we can say, if you need volunteers to explain or
Right.
present or whatever, we would be
Right.
happy to provide those.
And we would
Or-
want to have that speakers bureau set up
Speakers
beforehand,
bureau,
and then the script that we use for all of them.
Right.
So we're
Yeah,
having the same talking points
Right.
wherever we go.
What I am wondering about is, where do we stop between information and advocacy?
We don't advocate, we just give
Okay.
where
information.
information is always gonna be.
Right,
But as an individual, you can advocate all you want, but
Right.
On
as
your
a
own time,
commissioner,
yeah.
Right.
you can only inform.
so say a person is wanting to advocate. They would stand up and identify themselves, but saying, I'm not speaking as a commissioner, I'm
Yeah.
speaking as an advocate for this amendment. Would that cover it?
Pretty much.
Yes,
Okay,
as long as
So we
it's
talked
not
about the
at an
speaker- the
official.
Speaker bureau,
meeting.
if you're sent as a speaker, it's kind of like, the board appointments that we're talking about. If
right.
you're appointed by the board
Then
to
it's
represent the board,
informational.
then you're speaking on behalf of the board, then you're kind
Right.
of limited to advocating or
If
whatever.
you're advocating for one of your amendments, you take off your commissioner's robe and
Yeah.
put on your personal robe, and then
Yeah,
you can
it's really
advocate
only
like
if you're asked by the charter review
Yeah.
board to speak on behalf of the
Right.
board.
Yeah.
Then you're representing them. If you're
Got
not
it.
doing that, I think you can say whatever you want.
Got
And
it.
say, hey, I served on the board. This is my position.
Right.
You're not representing the board's
Right.
position in those cases.
Good, good.
I'm not, are we responsible for determining like how many members are in the speakers bureau or the makeup of that, or is that?
I think the speakers bureau is all voluntary.
Yeah.
We're not gonna force anybody.
But we
to
would send people out in pairs or,
And it's only for when a organization requests a representative be sent to them, but they can ask individual commissioners as well.
right?
Just like several of us spoke at the Republican Women's event,
Mhm.
and it was, it was Republican, so it's kind of partisan. We were all Republicans that spoke, but we just spoke about the issues in the process and, things we hope to accomplish. But anybody's still free to do that as an individual.
Mhm.
It's just, there might be occasions when we're asked, like but only in this, like the Speakers Bureau. If we're an assigned representative of this board, then we would be limited to not advocate.
I really liked the idea of town halls, like getting,
Yes.
bigger bang for our buck,
Felt like everyone, like that was pretty popular
Yeah.
idea last night, several people, and I think doing it by district is just super easy.
I do
It
too.
allows us all to make sure that we are talking
Mhm.
directly to our own constituents. And I think, and maybe we do one in each phase.
Yeah, one in each phase.
What do you mean one in each phase? One
So-
town hall in
Phase
phase one,
one
And
one.
one town hall in phase two.
So there would be one in like June for phase. phase
Yeah,
one.
I guess we can
And then-
June, May or June,
May or
depending
June.
on kind of what our
And then there
timeline
would
looks
be
like.
another one in September.
Yeah.
That's when people, after Labor Day, they start worrying about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Well, remember, these won't even be on the ballot. They won't be on the ballot in the primary, so people
Yeah.
scoot past that. It won't
Yeah, I
like
think,
it.
I mean, if we're talking about, there may be more town halls scheduled in that
Mhm.
time frame between August and November. But I think in terms of making sure that we do district level one, we should have at least, I think, one in each phase.
Don't-
We can do more. It depends. I mean, fifth district probably needs
Well,
more.
and anybody could come to any of them.
Yeah,
Am I right in thinking, say there's one in District 1 and somebody from District 2 can't do theirs, but they can come to District 1, it
Yeah.
would be very similar.
yeah, it would be very similar.
Yeah.
It just is
So,
the purpose being to make sure that our outreach is in all of the different parts of the county and not, everything happening downtown.
Okay, I think
Hi, Eric.
Eric, yes, you wanted to say something?
yeah, do we foresee a phase 3 then, or after November for the stuff that, looking at the 2027 ballot?
I think it just kind of starts over. That would be a phase one and phase two there. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everything we're doing right now, our timeline, all of it is just based around this first ballot go. And then we'll have 2027 ballot and sort of the process repeats.
Yeah, don't you think that after the November election, we'll let a couple of weeks go by, let it be certified, then have a meeting of the commission to see, well, where are we? But how do we set ourselves up for the 2027 ballot?
Yeah.
So that would not involve public outreach, other than to let people know it's a public meeting.
Well, I mean, we can, but we have so much more time then to sort
Yeah.
of start to take input about
Yeah,
ballot measures themselves.
right.
Whereas now, like this was all on us, like we all did it, but that gives us the opportunity to take more input from the public about what changes they may want to see,
Yeah.
so that it can drive.
So how do you actually picture doing like town hall?
I would think, it's a lot of logistics, but because we would do them district level, we'd probably come up with one slide deck for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we just schedule them out in a way that each of the three members in the district can
Go do it.
match up.
So we coordinate, we present it, we invite people,
Yeah.
county pays for it.
Yeah, that's basically the process. And I think that in that case too, I mean, you'd still be sending the notifications out to all the organizations saying, we're gonna have a town hall here.
I wonder what size venue we would need and how many people would come to this. I mean,
You
some,
mentioned the library.
yes,
I like the library.
Commissioner
think-
Landisberg had that
Yeah.
idea. And
I
it was-
think the libraries are really great options. Because I'm gonna say there's Battleground in the fifth. There's Camas in the fourth.
There's 3 Creeks up
And
in
then-
the second district.
Yeah,
And then the main library.
the main library was the
Perfect.
first, and then I'm pretty sure Cascade would be in the third.
So we
And they
wanna,
all have
so,
public
so an
meeting room.
action item would be to find out, plan scheduling.
Yeah,
those
so then
town
it's like,
halls.
it's
Right,
like scheduling
scheduling
the town
that is
halls.
really
And you can,
important.
I mean, last time staff kind of helped us with that, but we ended up doing a lot of it ourselves, which was not fun.
And
What,
when,
what timeframe did your group do it?
We, like I said, we did it after the ballot measures were, like, all the ballot resolutions were done. And so we
Okay.
were only doing sort of that phase 2
Okay.
educational piece. And then I think we had like,
So we do
we
the same
didn't do
thing, look at,
district
look
level
at like
ones, we
doing
just
these
had,
like later in the fall, so it's closer to the election.
yeah, I would say like later in
That
the
would be-
fall to do like the final ones. And I would say maybe one in late May, early June. Because you want to make sure it's before the drafting committee really sits down for their final push.
So you're envisioning just one large town hall in late May or June, or
I
one in
know,
each
I,
district?
one in each district. I just think logistically, that might be the easiest way to handle it. Because then we can do smaller venues. We don't have to worry about trying to predict sizes. And it allows like, because I think that the thing that we often do in this very diverse county is schedule a lot of things in downtown.
oh, no, we won't be doing.
And that just kind of, it's like,
No,
You know,
no,
you end
but
up-
you're so right. You
Yeah.
have more. So somebody would need to do the PowerPoint with all the information.
yeah, I'm
As
guessing
soon
that's
as
up.
all the information about reading to, what had come through reading to, then we could make the PowerPoint, because until we know all that, we can't make the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Right.
Yeah, so it would be, that's what I'm saying, it's kind of like, so our last day for second readings is May 20th.
Okay,
Our current timeline, assuming we can push through this fast, actually gets us done mid-April.
Yeah, I don't believe it will make mid-April.
But, you
That's
know,
doing 7 every meeting.
I was
But-
gonna say, are you really gonna make me do 3 in one meeting?
I tried to keep it so nobody had to do more than 2, but the people that had quite a few proposals, that got a little tricky.
Yeah. I mean, the likelihood you're actually gonna get through all of them.
Just like last
I
week.
mean, but even if you push this out another couple weeks,
Mhm.
we're still ahead of that May 20th
Yeah.
deadline. So if we can get them all kind of scheduled in that last part of May, then that gives us a lot more time for the sponsors to really kind of hone in their
Yeah.
final proposal.
Because if we're really getting feedback from the public on the current proposals,
Yeah,
it should be during the time when the committees are studying.
Yeah,
it,
absolutely.
And before they present it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if you wait till
It's my
afterwards,
concern.
it's like, I think Commissioner Christie said, it's just performative. I mean, we're just making
Yeah.
it look like we're doing.
well, that's why I'm thinking like, because our final due date is June 19th to the draft committee.
Right.
So it gives some time, and I would say end of May, then that gives time for anyone who presented earlier
Yeah.
to make any tweaks to their final proposal. If necessary. I mean, for the
Yeah.
most part,
I just picture it after the committee's done a presentation and that's been approved,
yeah.
it's like 99% done. So it's almost like showing up at the hearing and say,
Yeah.
really thinking public testimony.
I'm thinking more of what
change it.
we're gonna get from that public outreach, that public testimony is an understanding of how we should prioritize this giant stack we have
Yeah.
down to 10 amendments, right? Like
Yeah. Well,
it's our ability to say, as people will be like, oh,
and
you
we'll have,
know,
I think we'll have a better picture after we
Yeah.
get through this and see which ones even get forwarded to
Yeah.
committees.
But
Two.
aren't we prioritizing them based on the number of votes they get in the second reading? So they won't really,
yeah.
but
But
that's already kind
Well,
of set then.
But
they
I
have-
think
but
we
they
can
have to
also
come
take
to the
input.
committee.
Yeah,
The only reason they get prioritized is if we get a time crunch, the ones
Yeah.
with a higher number get priority to present.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I thought it was a way. I thought that the vote was based on, like, if let's say we have 24 that make it through second reading,
Mhm.
and then we go on based on the votes, which ones will out of those 24, let's say we pick 10 and it's based on the votes, isn't that 10 the group that is going to be going to the study committee? Or will
No,
they all
no,
be going?
everything goes to study committee if it passes
Right.
second.
And then it would be
was
when it
just,
comes out of the study committee.
it was
that
just
we would
to
prioritize.
prioritize which subcommittee presentation at the end will be prioritized. If we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But
I mean, some of these may not even make it past second reading. Like, we don't need to
Right, yeah.
Right.
worry too much. I would, ideally, if we could do something earlier. But the problem is we don't know when we're gonna have the full list.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Um,
as soon as
But
we have
the other
the-
problem
because
is
we have
you
overlap.
You have some of these that have a first reading,
Yeah.
second reading next week. If they get approved, you're gonna have committees already starting to work on those.
Yeah,
They might be presenting them as a committee May 1st.
yeah. But so that's, I'm thinking I mean, I don't
Yeah.
see, I don't think we're gonna get a bunch of policy wonks, wordsmithing our policies. I think what we might get is someone saying, have you considered this? And so then maybe then if something comes up, the subcommittees themselves could
incorporate.
meet one more time and then incorporate that feedback for a final proposal without having to do the full presentation. Right?
I'm starting to think the phase 1 town hall should be in June. Because to get through, to know which ones are gonna go forward and to get comments incorporated in the subcommittees and everything. I think we shouldn't hem ourselves in so much as to have it in May. Maybe the first week of June.
Yeah, I mean, we can aim kind of in this. It has to be in this block, but I would think you'd want to get, if something happens, like we're saying, that some feedback comes back,
Yeah.
then a subcommittee that presented early on in the
Yeah.
process needs time to meet again. We wouldn't want to force them into this pocket right here to finish it. So
What
I
if
think
for phase
here,
1, if we just include in our email broadcasts on each one that passes the second reading and say, if you have a group that wants a commissioner to come speak, just let us know. That way they're coordinating a group, a location, and we're just facilitating a speaker.
but I think that
That
the town halls are kind of our way of getting the
Yeah.
people who aren't already
Right, I think
engaged
we-
in organizations
have
and the
one
already
How can we
arranged
advertise the town hall?
the paper, social media,
Yeah. I think
there's-
you could do it on Facebook.
yeah,
I mean, you
I
could,
think social media will be the biggest place where we can get the most bang for our buck, but
those will be the people that aren't as engaged,
Yeah.
are just on their phones and might see it.
Okay.
And then all the groups that the county has available when they send out their news blasts. That's a lot of them.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where we can, our overlapping kind of starts to become an issue. It's like, if we want to do a survey and get feedback, when are we doing that?
Yeah.
Again, after this May 20th deadline?
So what if we kick off the survey right away? And I'm going to go back to the 4 questions. Like, what are your hopes and dreams for Clark County? What are your concerns for Clark County's future? Here's some kind of rough idea of what the charter does and doesn't do. What changes would you like to make to meet those things that you just talked about? And then that last one, here's some proposals that we have. And I think that plays into the town hall thing too, where if we say, hey, come sit in a room so that we can information dump on you for, about 40 proposals that have made it through the second reading, people's eyes will glaze over and no one will show up. But if we say, hey, we're talking about the future of Clark County and we want to hear what you have to say, we'll actually have some folks show up. And we can kind of dovetail that with the survey.
But then you're going to tell them, well, if they have an idea, you're not going to do anything about it this year.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to limit it to asking for feedback about what we're proposing already, because we've already closed the books on new ideas for this year. We could absolutely take or incorporate feedback for next year, but I'm just hesitant to go to a person and say, hey, what do you want to do? Oh, well, we'll think about it next year.
Right,
Does that make
raising
sense?
expectations that we
Well, I
can't
don't-
fulfill.
But I think there's a way to do it though that doesn't raise the
Yeah.
expectations, right? Like, so what if we did basically the informational piece, this is
Yeah.
what the charter does. We give, these are the proposals, and then, you know, what at the end, kind of, after you've seen what we have, are there any additional, like,
Right.
like,
Are you thinking of say at the town hall, we do our PowerPoint and then we say, now that you've seen these, what are some concerns you have that we aren't touching on yet because next year is another year?
Yeah.
That way we're,
Just as long as we make sure,
Yeah.
make it clear, it's, hey,
Right, it's
we're
for next
considering
year.
more next year.
Yeah.
This is
so
what's
it's
on
kind of the
table now.
final agenda item on the town hall dockets.
yeah.
So,
What do you think about that, Eric? If
So-
that's the final thing on the town hall docket, is to open it up to things that they worry about that we haven't touched on.
I think hang on, I'm almost there.
oh, he's coming in.
I hear an echo.
Yeah, I thought I did too. It's coming in. Well, I think
Much easier.
the first piece needs to be the survey, and it could happen
Yeah.
in the next couple weeks,
We could do
really.
that survey like.
We could do it right away. That would be,
Yeah.
that would be number one. It would be so easy. And then it's so early in the process that, I mean, it won't promote adding new ones to it because we already have our 24 that have been approved for a second reading. But,
We can definitely leave like a text option.
Here's what I'm thinking though. If you ask the question first. And then get them thinking along, get folks thinking along the lines of tying it back to charter stuff.
mhm.
And then you say, hey, here's some things that come up that we're thinking about doing. Now it's a two-way conversation. As opposed to like, let's information dump on what we've got so far, try and avoid talking about commitments for timelines. And then at the end, we're going to ask you about all the things you're upset about and we're going to send you on your way. Like, let's just front load it.
Yeah.
Let's get folks in that mindset of like, I'm being heard. And then the next thing that comes up, like, oh, like this is being talked about. Like we're taking their ideas
Mhm.
and working on putting them into practice. And I think we can do that without committing to like, this one's going to happen in 2026 and this one's going to happen in 2027, or it might not. People understand that things take time. We can just say, okay, we're here, we're listening. We've got some things already kind of in the works, without specifying. Here's when we're going to take your idea and run with. That's when people are going to get upset.
And I really liked what Commissioner Araqueme said about incorporating that feedback and kind of showing, kind of going back to that person or that group and saying, we heard you, this is what we got from you, this is where we are here, and this is what we're going forward. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if people feel they're heard and you're trying to incorporate their feedback and you're coming back to them and saying, this is what we're doing, it means a lot to people. So.
Yeah, when we were doing our strategic planning at the port, we did a lot of just very open-ended stuff first, and some of the feedback out of that was some folks wanted to see more parks and open spaces, and so we were able to take that and talk about the trail segment that we're already working on, allowing that to help shape Terminal 1 stuff, rather than saying, here's the Terminal 1 plan, what do you think? Because then that's us, again, just trying to like push or advocate for a thing. Whereas what like folks will say, hey, we want a certain amount of that to be this open public space where you don't have to pay money to get in. Well,
was probably already going to be a component, but now they're feeling hurt. I said the thing that I want, but I see it happening. So now everyone's got a little bit of their thumbprint on what's going on.
I have a concern about asking them such a broad question when we have already identified amendments.
We've identified some. There might be others out there.
There might be others.
And,
For 2020.
and we're gonna see a pattern. We're gonna
Yeah.
start seeing a pattern of people that many people have the same concerns, the same hope, and we might easily have charter amendments already that address that. So, and if we don't, then we still see that large pattern, then that could be something the next year.
Yeah, like I want to see more transparency around budget stuff.
Right.
And we're like, hey, we've got an amendment for that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you're listening, you're paying attention.
That would
Yeah.
be,
So that would be a great first start, the survey, and then how do,
What-
I would
what-
just hate to ask
can you
someone
clarify
a
what is the
survey on
survey we're
all
talking
of
about now?
this.
Oh.
Because this,
Yeah.
it's too much. It's too much. So I'm trying to like our surveys were very specific about, it was very specific about the issues that we
Oh,
were
okay.
proposing, right? To get feedback on, it was really kind of to get feedback on the language that we're using.
so yours was much later in the
Because
process.
what the most important thing we want to make sure we do when we're taking feedback is that if we are putting these things on the ballot, the voters understand, you know, the words we're using, and that they understand, you know, what this amendment is going to accomplish and what it's not going to accomplish.
Do we have the ability to do what like the legislature did? They have for bills, they have a form, you can sign in pro or con and just put your name, address, and click pro or con on it, and then they have results that they present to the council members.
I think the survey could be kind of like more of a,
One thing we do need to remember is the county does not have surveying capabilities. If we want to use something like Survey Monkey, that we do have to go outside of the county, that will cost. But
yeah, they arranged it last time for us though. They did all
the county did.
yeah,
Oh,
the county took care of the logistics for us.
The thing with those pros and cons is that a lot of times it just comes down to who's loudest.
Yeah.
And
That's why, like we kind of took more of a, it was more like, I wish, I hopefully we can track down the questions, the survey questions
they
Um,
used the last time?
that we
Oh,
used the last
okay.
time. I'm assuming maybe if the county has like a Survey Monkey account, it will still be in there.
I don't think they have to.
I guess something as simple as like Survey Monkey, where the only feedback I get is somebody voted yes or no is a little too.
No, we had, you know, response options to kind of help shape like exactly how we were approaching each of the issues, right?
Well, I mean,
These-
it's not the yes or no that bothers me. It's if it's anonymous.
Yeah,
I would tend to disregard it, because then it's like, okay, you found a group that you can send to, and they just all slide in, but you don't know who they are or what, you don't even know if they're county residents, that kind of thing. So like it's something a little bit more formal, like what the legislature does, where you have to say.
yeah, I don't
your
know if
name
we
and
have that
whatever.
kind of capability. I mean,
I think if we leave it more open-ended,
Mhm.
it's probably less likely to be an issue. What I'm thinking about is like the proposals that we've got. If I say, okay, here's this one about publishing the budget in September, yes or no? Then someone says yes, someone says no, but the reason someone says no is because they think it should actually be August. Someone else says no because they think it's already covered by a different county statute. Someone else says no because they don't like the color of the webpage that day,
Or the sponsor of the bill.
or the sponsor of the amendment. And then at the end, as opposed to having it a little more open-ended, say, well, we start seeing patterns, like you were saying, we start seeing patterns of folks like the basic idea, but it gets a lot more traction if we say August instead of September. Then we
we can actually make some tweaks that make it more likely to pass and get people.
But that's why my original idea was, if we have something that passes second reading, broadcast out that as like a news item to all the groups and say, this one passed second reading. Here's the link to the PDF presentation. Here, you can even go look at the video if you want. What do you think? Send feedback to the sponsor or to the whole council, whatever you want. But we can solicit feedback as an action based on individual proposals as soon as they finish their second reading. And then people are giving specific feedback because they would be emailing you comments. And it would be timely because it would be right after second reading. So if we could get that right to the committees.
Will we be inundating them with all these different email blasts?
Yeah, I
Okay, this
think
one
so.
got done
I
and
think
now
it should be,
this
pull
one.
them all together and have.
But then you're gonna have to wait till the very end of it though
Right.
too, so then you're not.
I think do it in chunks.
You could do one a week and do, the 5.
Yeah,
that
these
pass
are the
each
ones
week
that
or
passed this
4 or
week
whatever.
to second reading.
But with that, with like two calls to action. One is, hey, what do you think? Send us an email, or take the survey and add it to the survey right there.
Yeah.
Because it's already going to be someone who's interested enough to read through it a little bit.
Yeah.
So am I sensing that we have agreement to do a survey? So.
Yeah, it's on our,
I think
it's on
we
our.
already
Right,
went
okay.
over that.
Yeah.
So it seems like we also need a little subset of us to start working on the survey. Does that make sense? And to identify the timeline. I'm not volunteering to be on the survey. But I do think that we should have a little sidebar.
Well, that's
type
what
of
I'm kind of thinking too, is like what does this outreach look like going forward? How were we organizing it? So do we want to just maybe suggest we have an outreach committee?
Actually create an outreach.
Our speaker
speakers
bureau can be part of the outreach community, but you're gonna want people focused on social media. Someone's gonna have to keep feeding social media posts to the communication with the county. And then, we'll need people to work on the survey or surveys. If we're gonna do surveys in chunks too,
I like the
rather
idea
than
that,
overwhelming
I like the
people.
weekly idea, because if you get
Yeah.
3 or 4, we've got 7 listed, which we'll never get through 7 in a week, but let's say we get through 5 in a week, that would be a good chunk. And then you could have that survey, like you said, you could say, here's what has passed. You have a link right to our website for the proposed amendments. Then you have a link
Yeah.
to the survey so they can look at the proposed amendments first. And then we could go and we could provide, and ask them their questions. Maybe we could say, ask them what their priorities are for the ones that we're providing them, which ones look like they want to see this year, and then ask them, what are your hopes for Clark County? What are your concerns? What do you see this charter looking like? The questions you asked over here. So we could have that survey and that email blast and the link to the website all one thing, and it would just be weekly. And that would be just starting right out.
And if we include
Yeah.
for each one presentation, if we include the link of the sponsor's
We need to
email,
find out what those survey costs
we
are.
could ask them to provide feedback directly to the sponsor too.
Mhm.
And since that's more of an open-ended call, that allows them to provide whatever feedback they want.
Yeah.
And that might even too, by doing it that way too, we might be encouraging more public comment
Yeah.
too, to help. Once people know.
And we
what
might
it-
be able to aggregate the comments better by
Yeah.
topic rather than just telling them to email
Yeah.
everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think if we're doing that too, nowadays everyone is so busy that I don't know that we necessarily have to worry about bombarding them as much as if there's one that comes out every week. 2 weeks from now, they'll finally go, oh, that's right.
Or it just needs
I wanted to check
be
that
simple and direct.
Yeah.
Easy for them to do an action if they want to reply.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to read an email that's this long.
No, you just have to have a link to the proposed amendments that have made it
Yeah.
through second reading, and a link to the survey and a link to the sponsor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really
Yeah,
all you would
super
need.
easy.
Yeah, we would
Say-
just need to determine what,
Say, hey, this is passed, it's moving through the process, what do you think about it? If you want to comment, do this.
so really all we have to do, all those other pieces are, I mean, very obviously what they are, so we just need to come up with the survey. And we can get it started,
I have an idea.
okay?
4 questions.
Okay, but 4 questions,
4 questions.
okay, and what are your, the,
What are your hopes and dreams for Clark County?
mhm.
What are your concerns for Clark County's future?
Your concerns for Clark
Clark
County's future? Mhm.
Real quick snapshot of what the charter kind of is and what it does and doesn't do.
You mean you're asking them what they
As a-
think?
As an intro to kind of frame up next question.
So that wouldn't be an, oh, okay, it's not just an intro to the whole survey?
No.
Okay, so intro to,
Want to get them thinking about what matters to them first.
Mhm.
what the charter can do. Okay, then what is the,
And then the question for that one is, knowing that, what changes would you like to make to address those hopes and concerns?
really a 3 questions?
Yeah, and then the 4th one, if we wanted to, would be,
You had current examples, but we'll have a link there.
yeah,
So,
what are your thoughts on, some ideas about topic areas, or here's
Oh.
what we're hearing so far. Or
So-
some of the things that we're considering so far. What are your thoughts on that? Because what'll happen is you'll get to that 3rd one.
mhm.
What are your hopes or concerns? Here's kind of what the charter can do. What do what would you change in the charter to address the things? And a bunch of people are gonna say, well, I don't know, like, no idea, I've got no idea. And then,
Or they'll talk about gasoline prices.
or they'll talk about gas prices, and then pivot back into, well, here's some topic areas, for amendments that are being discussed. Your thoughts on that? It kind of seems, it's really, it's kind of the 3rd question over again, but seeding some ideas.
Okay. Would you be able to kind of write that down and more? I mean, and for not necessarily like this moment, but something that we can kind of start with. And then we could get to the, because it's gonna take us a while to get that survey set up
Yeah,
and get a list of all these people to do this
Right.
email
yeah,
blast. So,
that's why we need to have a survey subcommittee that gets right on it.
But I think it's just generally an outreach subcommittee, and then
Yeah,
there can
yeah.
be,
it's just an outreach
Like-
committee that would do the survey, that would work with the county people that do social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we've got this survey up and running, then social media can funnel people into that.
Yes.
Do a Facebook
That's what.
post or whatever, and like, here's the survey.
Mhm.
I wonder if I hope I'm not being too pushy, but does it make sense to have Eric, Dorothy, and Peter? Am I volunteering you guys to be this outreach group, or, does that make sense? Or
Well,
I mean, I probably was gonna volunteer for outreach, but
you were, or you?
yeah, I was planning on.
I
See,
I
I mean,
kind of thought it was
The
part
one
of
thing
it.
I bring to all of this is having been through it before,
Yeah.
right? So it's like,
Right.
it's easier for me to explain the process to
Right.
people.
And I would be
I'll
happy to,
volunteer to show up at things, but I'm probably not the person to organize events or things like that.
well, and I'm happy to be on it, and I do
Okay.
I have the luxury of being retired,
Oh,
so I
good.
can spend time on things, so
Right.
that's not a problem. But getting that list of those people, I mean,
Yeah.
that's gonna be the biggest hurdle. you know. I guess what we all need to do is just get the word
Yeah, I don't
out
think it
there.
would be too bad. I think the county already keeps kind of,
We
a
could
lot
on
of
our
contact information
page
for
also,
organizations and
once,
stuff.
once we start with a list, we could also have, do we have a mechanism for people to be added to our distribution list?
Yeah, we could set up a newsletter or some sort of thing where people can sign up to be a part of it.
Columbia and Battleground Reflector, Clark County Today, Kansas.
So you're saying on our website, like a form, at the bottom, you know, is that to be,
Well,
are you?
I was just thinking, if we start listing, sending out to 12 organizations and they distribute it to their members, what if somebody else hears about it or doesn't get it directly,
Oh, they should
but
be.
they
able-
want it directly, how do they get added to our email list?
Yeah, we'd probably just a sign up where they can put in their information.
And I don't know what the maximum capability for
I don't
sending
either.
out emails. You know, if you send too many, then the county gets, it looks like spam, and then the county could get blocked. So you have to be real careful on how many you send out at a time, and, I don't know. I'm not sure how all that
Well,
works.
we'll
I
probably
mean,
start
again,
out
we
just
have,
just send it to
we have a
organizations.
budget, so we can even pay for some sort of like newsletter mailing system.
Electronically. you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we would just have one newsletter at the end of every week with what's passed, goes out
But we don't have our
to
own list
whatever
right
our
now.
list is.
We don't have our
Yeah.
own list of 10,000 people that want to email.
Yeah.
We were just talking about sending to organizations.
If it happens.
Right.
Right.
Does the county have some sort of a general list of folks who want to be kept informed of stuff?
We have, I think, different lists,
Okay.
like different departments have general emails or content.
Yeah, like a general PIO thing that we could maybe stick on blurb in, so, hey, there's a charter thing happening.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
don't have to
there's
like
general
advertise it a whole lot, but
Yeah.
just to,
social media, communications probably, Donnie.
Yeah, we'll reach out to Johnny for sure.
yeah. Yeah, I don't want to totally take over their department, but they probably have some resources that.
Yeah, I would think that the things like,
give
they've
the
got
county.
the neighborhood association list, they've got like, you know, party organizations and all those. Like,
Everybody who signs up for every news release. you
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
That is a good way to start it. I mean, that's every news media outlet, plus every neighborhood,
and then
every,
we could just have a running press release at the end of every week that just adds the ones that pass and
an
then,
actual press release every week.
yeah, those are free, right?
And but it's
Whether or
work.
not the
It's
paper wants
work.
to, but I was saying if we do like a, you know, we do like just a basic outline and then all we have to do is plug in
So just
the
a-
ones that pass at the, you know, we send that out every week. These are the ones that pass that are going into committee study. And then like,
a weekly news release.
yeah. And whether or not the paper is actually doing anything with that, you know, it's not really.
Yeah, you don't have any control over
We
it.
don't
if
have
they
any
do it.
control over it, but there
So-
might be particular issues they may pick up and say, hey, we want to talk about this one specifically.
So this weekly news release would only be through the point where the second readings have been approved?
Yeah, I thought that was basically
No,
what we
I think
decided
so.
anyways, is that's kind of how we're gonna chunk it, so we're not overwhelming people.
Or that get approved or whatever number
Yeah.
it is. And
These are the ones that made it to committee study, and then they're,
if you're only doing one email a week.
here's how you can give feedback.
Well, she said news release and you're saying email, but I guess it could be.
They're
the-
both,
they're the
right?
same thing.
Yeah, basically the same thing, but it's
Okay.
the same, like we have a running news, like, we just put together the format for our press release, and then we just plug in what goes, and we send that out every week,
I
like,
think that's
Yeah.
a really efficient use of our
Yeah.
time. We're not running around, we're just
Mhm.
doing it electronically.
Yeah.
People want that technology at the end of their fingertips. They would rather probably not even come to a town hall. They probably would. Truly, we could even consider doing a town hall electronically, like some kind of YouTube forum or something that's, virtual.
Yeah, it's kind of way, I don't know what people's taste is for town halls. I mean, I know some of them came to like the planning, growth management act presentations and stuff like that. but.
We
trying-
had
trying
people
to
come to
get
ours
people
last
out there.
time.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
there's like this like steady group of people that show up to every community event. If you put it on, they're gonna show up. Like, yeah.
But those are not the people we're going to target as much. We want those people
Well,
that
I think that's why if we
are,
do,
are low
we
knowledge voters
do-
that need
if
to know.
by doing district level, we're saying, here's your opportunity to meet your commissioners that represent you on the board.
Yeah.
Like, and, you know, then, and you don't have to drive 45 minutes to downtown, right? It's
So-
gonna be at your local library.
So we can just include a blanket statement in your press releases or weekly email and say, if your organization would like a charter commissioner to come speak to them, all they have to do is ask.
That's a good
And
idea.
that way
That's a great idea.
they're
Mhm.
polling for, hey, do we want to get a speaker? And
Don't have time to
Doesn't
come,
cost us
so take
anything.
the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are we going to have something next Wednesday night? Is that gonna be, Kathy, are you gonna pull enough of this together to, I mean,
I'm taking notes. I'll listen
Okay.
to that, but I don't think, I'm not going to do a PowerPoint
Right.
presentation.
because I know that.
I don't do those very well. I think, I mean, we don't have to, we could have like just an outline form of what we're talking
Okay.
about. I am kind of writing it. And what I'll do is as soon as I get home, I'll type that up. I'll send it to you guys. So you can say, oh no, that's not what I meant. And you
Yeah.
can edit it and then I
Right.
could supply that. I have to have it no later Monday at
Right.
noon to get
Yeah.
it there. But somebody else gets to present it. So.
I don't think this is as complex as our work.
No,
plan
it
and
really
our
isn't.
timeline.
I think
So I
there's
think
an
it's kind of
outline.
more just an easier, we've decided this should be 2 phases and this is
Mhm.
phase 1, this is phase 2. We
Right.
And the most
recommend
important thing is
the immediate
what we're gonna do
formation of
immediately.
your outreach
Yeah,
committee.
that's important.
Right.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
would recommend immediately at this meeting, we form the outreach committee.
Yeah.
And this is going to be your speakers bureau, your social media team, your survey developer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your town hall scheduler.
Now would this end up being a public meeting though?
Yeah.
Because they're not making decisions. They're just doing kind of logistics, right?
Yeah, no, I don't, it
I
doesn't
don't
have to
think
be a
it should
public,
have to.
doesn't have to be a public meeting, I don't think so.
So that'll
Yeah,
be
it's not
helpful.
decision making.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's the behind the scenes logistics. You're mostly working with staff and like,
Okay.
and then scheduling with each
One
of
thing, if you would write those questions, then we can kind of give them examples of what we kind of envision that survey to look like,
Yeah.
link to the proposals, link to the, to our website or the survey and link to the sponsored, and maybe the link to the sponsor, maybe we can, I don't know what it would take for the website that we have currently with our proposed amendment under that, at the very bottom. Why can't at the bottom of every proposition, have the co-sponsor's name and email right there? Because it already says the sponsor.
Right. That
Couldn't we
makes
just
sense.
plug in their email and it would,
Isn't it on the right side of where the?
it is.
Yeah,
it
but I
is
think
there.
what we want to do is make it as easy as possible for people to communicate with us.
But that,
So these are the second readings. Here's the title and like a 1-sentence description. Interested in this one, email, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
well, it would still have the documents that are attached with like the second reading, right?
Would have the
Would-
full, whatever. was
That's-
through
I
the
would think,
second
yeah,
reading.
whatever the second
Yeah.
reading documentation would be. I've been kind of considering that, like, we have our proposal intake form, which was just a very rough,
And I
like,
think that should be,
immediate draft.
I think that should
Do
be
we
attached
want,
too.
like, are we going to have a, like, sort of growing proposal changes as it goes, like, before the final, like, should there be a second reading proposal and a
Well,
final proposal?
What,
You know
what
I
I
mean?
think is you dump all the documents under that proposed
Yeah.
amendment. You have your intake form, and then when you do your second reading, you have your handout or whatever you do. And then, as more documents, it would just be all under that proposed amendment possibly. Of course, it might be getting it too
Yeah.
littered with too much stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just that you start to overwhelm and confuse people. And I think, like, I know, like, my proposal is changing. It's as
Yeah.
it's, as
Right.
as I'm getting feedback and things are, seeing you know.
So do you want to have all the versions or do you want to just always update and only?
That's what I'm
one
saying, like
version?
the proposal intake now is not quite correct. So now do we have like
Oh,
a
I
second
see.
reading version and then the final proposal? What does that look like? Because, and I'm sure mine isn't the only one. A lot of people have already mentioned this, I was just filling this out and this wasn't like,
Yeah, the intake form is probably not good enough for sure, but
and it
the-
could be confusing, right? If this, if the original, this is just what we put down on the paper to get it.
I think the second reading, because you would hope during the second reading, you've developed it enough for people to really understand what you're trying to get through to them. It's not just a rough. You're not having all the technical analysis, but you got data in there.
Yeah.
And if we had just that, it would.
So I
it would
think
get
that's
them.
kind of like maybe we have some sort of like a little bit more of an overview, right? It doesn't have to be the technical language, but like what section is it changing and what are your like, what is your proposed goal?
My main thing is just, like, that's gotta be on a web page, and we gotta keep that out of the email.
Yeah.
Because if we try to,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
If we
see
have
what you,
more than
oh,
10
yeah,
lines,
this
yeah.
shouldn't be in the
I think we
email.
just co-post whatever the sponsor presents at the second reading. It's on them to sell the proposition.
I just have like a bunch of supporting documentation at this point that is like
Yeah.
not, it would be really overwhelming for the general public.
Yeah.
It's more of a definitely.
But isn't that
the
more for your-
commission, not
It's
for-
more for your committee study though, right?
Yeah, I just, well, I honest, like I said, mine is basically done. Like I don't really need the committee. But like I said, I've been working on this for almost 10 years. I've done the committee study.
kind of what you were saying, like having that second reading, PowerPoint or whatever, probably is a little more accessible to the general public. And
Mhm.
yeah, just like there might be, we could go like all the way into the weeds with the policy and stuff, but at some point, yeah, it would be good to boil it down.
It's just easier. I mean, whatever the sponsor chooses to present or provide documentation wise at the second reading, it's going to get posted on our website
Yeah, it's
already.
gonna be
The
right
link's
there.
It's easy to incorporate
Yeah.
into an email and the public can download it. They can discard it after they read it if it's too much or too little.
I wouldn't even put it in the email, just me, like a link to where to find the information. These are the proposals that passed and here's where you can find information
And the sponsor,
about.
and the sponsor,
content of these
sponsor will be listed with each proposition.
Yeah.
So if you have questions for them, you can reach out directly.
Oh, website team would be part of also that outreach committee. To help kind of try to organize this in a way that's navigatable, because if you just have a bunch of like just document links. like,
Right, but
there
you
needs
know,
to be.
the website's very limited on
Yeah.
how pretty and, they've got a certain style that they keep within. I even asked Michelle about our proposition amendments, how we have them right now, and how it lists the name. It's all kind of in a medium weight font and it has a dash and it says status. We don't even have the ability to put it on 2 lines. It's just, they don't have that ability. So, we have to realize there are limitations on the website. We don't have quite the same kind of freedoms like some webmaster would. But we definitely can.
It might
try
not
to
be
improve
best
it.
to direct them to that grid with all of them, but on each of our agendas published on the meeting link, they're going to put all the links to the individual presentations there.
Again, it's just so not easily navigatable. So is there some solution? Can we lead people to a page that doesn't look like that? That just has,
You could have a link
yeah.
for each one and it's a PDF.
No, I'm saying like a link to just a page that is very just informational about the proposal and like where they are in the process, that makes it more navigatable. Like, it's not the meetings and the minutes and the,
You could, but
The-
then you're adding more work,
Yeah.
right? If you're adding for somebody to kind of create that page on a weekly basis as
yeah,
opposed to,
I
you
can
haven't-
throw together some HTML in probably 10 minutes if you tell me what to put on there. Like,
but
The tracking page that we
I
had
know.
in our binder would be something like that, and then the title
Yeah.
is.
like this, I sent this is done in HTML. So like something like, you can have just like a chart, something that's navigatable. It's something super easy for people to go, okay, these are the proposals
Okay.
and here's the documentation.
so you would just take like every week, you would take
Yeah.
the 6 proposals
Yeah.
that have made it through the second reading, dump them into an HTML, put the sponsor's name and contact information behind it,
Yeah.
and it's just one page that they bring
Yeah,
up.
it's just one page they can go to so they don't have to like go through, okay, this was discussed at the March 18th meeting and here's the documentation, like in the,
That's too
it's so
hard.
difficult to navigate if you're not someone who's in the know
Yeah.
about how the county website works.
I would just send an email and said,
Yeah.
this is the proposal, one line,
Yeah.
here's a link, hyperlink to the documentation presentation, another hyperlink for the sponsor.
But I'm saying for people who are looking for that information who aren't on the email, you know what I mean? They're not on our organizational email list. Somebody who
Going to
maybe
the county
saw,
website.
maybe someone saw it, on social media, but then they go click on the county website and they're like, oh, well, I don't know actually, because that's what the link's going to lead them to, right? It's going to lead to our webpage on the county website. And they're going to be like, oh, well, now I'm lost.
Well, then like a Facebook post or like an email digest or whatever, we can link directly to
Yeah.
the thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That might be posted on the county website.
That's what I'm saying, like a clean page that's not the meeting, you know what I mean? It's not the everything for the open meetings and
Yeah.
Well,
public
but there's,
information.
there's
It's like,
there's that one
Yeah.
that lists all the meetings. Then we have another page that lists just the proposed amendments. You've seen that, right?
I haven't clicked on it yet,
Okay.
but that's what I'm saying, something like that. It's just
Okay.
a very clean page that's easily
It
navigatable,
is
and that's
very-
what we,
It
that's
is
what we
very
link
clean right
people
now.
to,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
the information we link people
The,
to.
the only thing is with that one, it lists all of them. And then you have some status of withdrawn, status rejected or failed. I mean, you'll have some that don't pertain to this.
Yeah. So
anymore.
that's something the outreach committee can kind of work on, is how can we best organize this information to make it easily accessible and navigatable? So it's not so overwhelming and people can get the information immediately, because the people that we're trying to reach through this particular outreach, especially with social media and stuff, they're not gonna spend 20 minutes trying to figure out how to find the information, right? They're gonna immediately go, I don't know how to find it, and walk away and like go away. So if we make it super easy for them, they click on a link from social media and it takes them to that page.
Or takes them to the survey.
Yeah, depending on what it is that we want them to.
Well, yeah,
the
you'd have-
information. But if we're saying like, here are the things that passed this week, and they want to find just the details on those things.
Just on those, and then
Right, like, so then it's easily navigatable. They can click on click on it and see, the documentation, or like maybe just an outline of the proposal, and then the links to the documentation, something that gives them, that makes it easy for people.
the website team could also, or social media, I should say.
The outreach committee is going to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
But
We wouldn't necessarily have a social media campaign running people to what passed this week, though.
It would just run them to our website, right?
It would get them to sign up for the email digest.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's where they'd get exposed to what has the link to the page, survey, the content, whatever contact info, that kind of thing. Social media is just an initial attention grab.
Okay.
Social media might also be like saying, okay, these are the committee proposals that are going to happen this week. So these are the topics they're discussing, ways to just get people to kind of say, oh, that's the best time I can do public comment on an issue I'm passionate about.
Okay, so, So phase one is we'll put together a survey. We need a, whatever you want to call it, public outreach committee, whatever they're called, the people of many hats. And then, they will work, with, reaching out to Johnny and getting those lists that we can and creating some kind of an email blast to them and the social media. So that's part of phase one. And we want to do that
Yeah.
in the
I
next,
mean, the outreach committee is gonna be
they're going to
for
be,
the next 2 years, right?
Yeah,
Like their
really.
job doesn't stop at the end of this. And then the phase two is just, it's all information, once we know what's on the ballot.
so phase two will be the town hall. Really. I mean, other than that first one.
Yeah,
'Cause we will have a
There'll
town
be There'll
hall.
be town halls for phase two as well.
yeah.
Yes.
Phase two will be a lot more, town hall heavy, a lot more of information sessions and
And that'll be in each district.
At the, if we can do the library, that's neat.
Plus others that get, that people get,
organizations
yeah,
will invite, the speakers bureau to come talk.
And to have a
And
consistent
for,
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
That we're okay with presenting.
again,
That's important, the outreach.
the
committee.
PowerPoint and the
Yeah.
script, yeah.
branded with the county branding.
Mhm. Okay,
I'm assuming they have some sort of base.
They
slide deck.
Slide deck.
they do, yeah.
Say too, like, I think if we can have more in that presentation on the soliciting of info from folks, it'll make it a lot easier to dodge the, am I advocating for something? To get folks in the conversation going, well, I think the balanced budget thing, and someone else will be like, I don't know, that's a terrible idea. They can discuss it amongst themselves.
Who are they?
The audience.
Oh,
Down hall.
I see.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I mean, basically what we did was these are the top proposals on the ballot. It would be basic information about kind of like with the explanatory statement. Like,
Yeah, I
and then
think the first slide should be, we're not here to advocate for the specific amendments.
Yeah.
And we're not here to solicit pro and con from the audience, but just more to inform you guys what's on the ballot.
I think you should be on the committee and help on the speakers bureau.
yeah, I think, it's not gonna, affect.
Whatever their comments are, tell them to submit
Yeah.
them in writing or.
Yeah,
or
you
come to the
definitely
county
could
council.
solicit, but do it in a way that they email us.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
we
take-
can be
or take
clear.
notes and bring it back to the
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
listen to what folks have to say.
Right.
And see how much quality feedback you can get out of folks. Because we've got our little group of 15 people, and that's all well and good.
Yeah, but with my luck, I'd be like, yeah, I took these notes at the public town hall, all these public comments, and now that's a public record, and I can't find it now.
That's why you bring it back to the commission.
That would be my luck.
So,
I'd like, I just got a
I'm
notebook.
like, hey,
I'm like-
you should email that comment to the county.
I just got a notebook. I was like, because we did have one like public information request last time.
Oh.
So this time around, I'm like, I'm just gonna have a notebook. All my notes are gonna be in here. So that then someone asks for it, I can just photocopy that.
that's exactly what I have going on here. So I'm looking at the public outreach ideas that everybody gave us yesterday and seeing if we've kind of touched on them. The survey, reach out to community-based organizations, purely informational, work on getting our website more accessible. We've talked about the town halls. We talked about the survey, what the wording would be, social media. I know Commissioner Suleiman, you said make sure it's cost effective and really promotes public engagement, not symbolic. Do you feel our plan kind of hits that
Yeah,
properly?
I think especially email, I mean,
Okay.
email.
We haven't
dirt
really
cheap.
talked about anything costly.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if the county, I don't think they charge us for IT's time, but
I'm just thinking, if you're organizing a town hall, it's like I'm all for that, as long as people show, as long as we have a track record of people showing up.
Yeah.
I was just thinking back to when I was on the original charter freeholder board, it's like, we did a couple remote meetings, but, so there were additional costs to do remote meetings. It didn't really result in a more public participation. Same people that came down here to comment, showed up there.
Yeah, well, I think scheduling the town hall, say like a Saturday, you're more likely, because right now our meetings start at 5. Most people are still commuting or they don't get off work till 6. Yeah. So we're not gonna get a lot of engagement, but if we,
But it does sound like we need, our first thing is, that we must create a, public outreach.
yeah, that's sort
committee.
of that's our action item for the commission.
Yeah.
That this is the thing we need.
Yeah, we've got a decent outline, but we need folks to actually own it and run with it.
Yeah.
Because that really
We
wasn't
talked about
our,
press releases, we talked.
I'm not sure we need to buy ad space, because I think the local newspapers will write stories where we can give them website information.
Well,
if they
I
want
think
to do that.
announcing our town halls, we may need
Oh,
to pay
yeah.
for ad space, just the same way like they do the meeting.
Not all of us can just write off a column and have it get printed.
Well, that's
I
the
think you
opinion.
can volunteer for that, because you got.
No, that's
you
the
got track
opinion
of
side. This is the reporting.
You
I
got-
bet you have more contact with the reporter. I bet. So you talk to the reporters frequently.
Not a whole lot these days,
Really?
not since things have kind of settled down. Yeah, a lot of that goes through the PIO team. Every once in a while.
But this one, consider text line, voicemail, email, you get feedback.
You get way more.
We'll be soliciting emails, feedback throughout the process. I don't know about.
I think we've hit on everything, really.
600 words.
Other,
We
You
talked
have
to
to make 'em
stakeholders in
good.
large groups. We talked about that. Be smart and efficient use of time. I think we're
kind of,
I
we're
mean,
gearing it toward that because it's
Yeah.
gonna be electronic. We're not just sending people out
We-
everywhere.
we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't ask Duncan to go to the Sunrise Rotary.
Apparently-
No.
And then the Lions
He
meeting.
must have been asked to do that at some point.
Well, I think it's a good plan that kind of incorporates
Yeah.
most everything that people brought to our attention. And then once we get this public outreach committee, then they can pull all those pieces
Right.
together and get it going.
Yeah.
I don't think that we were actually charged with doing all that.
Right.
I mean,
No, I think we were just gonna come up with whatever the outreach plan should look like, the framework of the outreach plan,
Yeah.
and I think.
And I
Let's let them say, yeah, that sounds good, and then you can
Yeah.
get the thumbs up. and
Someone
then you
else can do the
Find out
presentation
who's
though.
motivated to do it.
Oh, yeah. Who would like to do the presentation on Wednesday? You want to do it, Eric?
Yeah, Eric should do it.
I will create this outline and work with you and get that ready. And if you want to
Yeah.
present it, okay, that
And I
would be
think
great.
Given how our schedules go on these meeting nights, like 5 minutes, if we could make it that quick, don't you think? Or,
I think there's
I
gonna be,
think this is definitely, I mean, it's not as intense as our last.
right,
Like
No.
we're having to get the work plan
Right.
and that adopted.
I bet the
along with-
biggest thing will be getting people to be part of the public outreach committee, getting a call to at least,
Yeah.
5 or 6 people to do that. And then going over the outline that we've kind of created, and it's,
But you must have an interest in social media, websites, speaking. What other hats were
no,
we
are we
giving
gonna
them?
make, are we making this public outreach committee also the speakers?
Well, I
bureau?
would think, yeah, the speakers bureau would be part of the public outreach committee.
But I think you could have people outside the public outreach
Right.
committee be speakers
No, they're
too.
just coordinating it, I think is what she's
Right.
saying.
Oh, that's what you're saying, that this public outreach is coordinating the speakers bureau. They might be part of it, but other people will be part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they
Okay.
can figure out like
Okay.
what that's gonna look.
Because I would hate to limit it just to a small
I
group,
don't
because
think that's what she
everybody,
meant.
right, every
Okay.
Well, I thought that was
commissioner-
the point of the speakers bureau was to limit it to a small group of people who were doing the speaking.
well,
But the speaker.
But I
bureau
felt like
should
last
be
time it was a
every
little too
commissioner should
controlled.
have-
yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that they can that committee can hash out.
And
Yeah.
you've got to have flexibility. People need time off. You could have two people that might be available this one time, but not this next time. So, you know, we need to
Dorothy,
have.
wouldn't it you expect every commissioner to kind of take their
Well,
turn?
the point to doing the town halls in the different districts
Oh.
is to give each commissioner the
Yeah.
opportunity to be
Right.
part of the outreach.
Oh, you know, that would be great that if you did it in each district and then
Yeah.
every commissioner, those three commissioners from that district would be responsible for that town hall.
Yeah.
Well, I think you could also have it fairly open-ended. Because even if, even if there's something in District 1, if it's like at a day and time, like if Don's on
Right.
Tuesday morning, I can't go.
Right.
So I think that.
Fill in
that-
for each
that
other.
group- Yeah, that group can say, hey, here's all the different things that we want to speak at. We need 2 volunteers for each one. Here's the calendar, and you
Right.
start picking out which one
Yeah.
you kind of want.
And each week, we might get, the Rotary Club.
Yeah, they're like, hey, do I got 2 volunteers for Three Creeks Rotary and 2 volunteers for Sunset Rotary? Sunrise Rotary? Like,
Yeah.
And you got Kiwanis, I mean, that's a whole.
Lions
Go to
Club.
their service award. Did you go
So-
to their service award today?
So do you think we can
Oh, okay.
wrap up?
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. I should know that you were.
Yeah, I think
hard to
we've
the grind.
got an outline of a plan. We've got an action item for the commission, and I think that from there, unless we're on the outreach committee, we could be done.
And you and I have already admitted that we'll be part of it. So,
I want
Okay.
to say that one of the ladies honored today at the Service Rotary had 2,500 hours of volunteerism at hospice.
oh my God.
2,500 hours assisting those who are dying in their families.
So I think unless there's anything else, we'll go ahead and
That was for the good of the
adjourn
order.
this meeting.
For the order.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you all.
Thank you.